What do Boise State, UCLA, Michigan, Nebraska, and USC all have in common? I mean, besides not accepting my application. Well, their travel budgets won't be taking any hits this fall because they're all sitting out the 2020 football season. Today, the Pac-12 and Big Ten conferences joining the Mountain West in announcing they will postpone all fall sports until the spring. Big 12, ACC, could they be next? Football in the spring of 2021, that is. Is that even a guarantee? And what will that mean for the fall of 2021? Well, weeks away from what would have been the 2020 season, what about those student athletes who are on campus and getting ready for fall camp? Do they stay in Boise or do they go home? Well, for some of those answers, we turn to sports director Jay Tuss. And Jay, we heard from Boise State head football coach Bryan Harsin today, and he's probably just about as disappointed as anyone else.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Brian. Shocked, disappointed. When we spoke with Bryan Harsin today, he told us, he mentioned that something like this, they knew it was possible, but actually coming to the grips with the fact there won't be Boise State football played in the fall for the first time since World War II wiped out the 1945 season is something that is extremely tough. How do the players feel? Brian, today was supposed to be day 4 of fall camp, inching closer and closer to full padded practices, real football. At this time last week, that was exactly the expectation of what this team would be doing today. How quickly has it changed? Well, last Wednesday, the Mountain West pushed the season back to September 26th. They pushed the beginning of fall camp back to August 21st. And yesterday, well, they pushed the season back altogether to the spring of 2021. On that note, the players were given the day off today, according to Bryan Harsin. They're going to reunite tomorrow, and they're going to work out. They're going to finish out this week before taking a little bit of a break and, quite frankly, regrouping, Brian.
Well, and all these are student athletes, so the student part of them, couldn't they just go home and take their classes from home, or do they want everybody to kind of stick around?
Great question. I mean, it all goes into the question, how do they prepare? So I just mentioned that the students will be taking a break up until August 24th when school begins. Between now and then, the coaches are going to try to figure out a plan. Bryan Harsin says preparing is the easy part. They just don't know when exactly they're preparing for. They're hoping a springtime season, right? But that is kind of a vague guideline. They need exact dates before they can form an exact plan of attack on how they're going to proceed through this fall. Bryan Harsin mentioned a couple things to me. Mental toughness is going to be important over these next few months. Discipline, still following COVID protocols, is going to be important. He also says that players are going to kind of shift their focus to trying to be as positive as they can and just navigating the waters over these next few months. But Brian, one thing I want to bring up, this is heartbreaking, especially for seniors. Just think about this. Yes, the season has been pushed to the spring, but it's far from 100% certain that it's going to happen. That means that there are seniors over at Boise State that couldn't help but probably go to bed last night wondering if they've played their final game as a Boise State football player. That's awfully tough. You mentioned facilities. I think they have the proper protocols in place over at Boise State. Bryan Harsin believes that's where his players are the safest. I talked to another coach in another conference last week, Brian, and he told me this. They feel like their protocols are so airtight there that their players should feel safer working out and going to their football facility than they should maybe a grocery store. So I think coaches are pretty confident in their protocols, Brian.
And these athletes are so used to routine, this start and then stall and then not knowing when to start again. That's going to wreak some havoc even as we get through the next few months for these guys and all the other sports as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that it is going to be important now for everybody to get on the same page moving forward, and that applies to so many things, Brian. I talked with another player in another conference last week, and he joked that what's the point of conference-only play if all the teams in that conference aren't following the same protocols when it comes to testing? It shouldn't be conference-only play. It should be aligning with maybe other teams that follow similar protocols or the exact protocols that you follow. But a lot of uncertainty right now. Yes, it seems like the spring is hopeful at the moment, but like I said, it's far from a 100% thing. The Big Sky Conference commissioner told me last week that unless things change, he felt that there wasn't going to be any football played in even the spring. So it's going to be interesting moving forward, without a doubt.
I keep going back to one of my favorite texts that a viewer sent in a couple weeks ago. If you wanted schools or even football in the fall, maybe you should have worn that mask in May. We'll see if that sticks around now. All right, thanks, Jay.